So think about it. We go through so much in our lives, right? But how much of that experience actually turns into, well, wisdom? It's not automatic. It's a real journey, a climb, from just having a ton of information to having real, clear insight. And today, we're going to look at the map for that climb.
I mean, we live in an age where any fact you could possibly want is right at your fingertips. The source material for this actually has a great term for it: information obesity. It's like we're literally drowning in data. But all this information creates this really weird, frustrating paradox.
And here it is. It's kind of wild when you think about it. For the first time in history, we have this massive surplus of information, but at the same time, a huge deficit in wisdom. We're totally overfed with facts, but we're starving for meaning. We know so much more, but do we really understand things any better?
And that, right there, is the big challenge. How do we get past just collecting trivia? How do we actually process our experiences and turn them into something solid, a guide we can actually live by? The good news is, this isn't just some random walk in the dark. There's actually a structure to it, a framework we can follow to climb from raw data to real insight. We're calling it the Wisdom Pyramid.
I love this quote because it just nails the difference, doesn't it? Knowledge is the what. Yeah, a tomato is technically a fruit, but wisdom is the how and the why. It's understanding the context and realizing, yeah, probably not a great idea for the fruit salad.
Okay, so here's our map. These are the 6 key levels of cognition, starting with just remembering a fact all the way up to creating something new. And here's the most important rule of this whole climb. You can't skip steps. You just can't. Each level is the foundation for the next one.
All right, let's start climbing. We're going to zoom in on the most important parts of the ascent. Those moments where passive information gets hammered and forged into active, usable wisdom.
So let me ask you this, and be honest. Is your mind more like a quiet library where facts are neatly stored on shelves, just kind of collecting dust? Or is it a busy, maybe even messy workshop where ideas are being tested and hammered into something new? This right here is the turning point, the applying stage. This is where we finally cross the bridge from theory to practice. Any knowledge that isn't applied is just sitting there. It's that huge gap between knowing what you should do and actually, doing it.
And yeah, applying what we know, it costs us something, doesn't it? It costs time, effort, sometimes failure. That cost, that's experience. But wisdom isn't just about having the experience. It's about looking back at the receipt and truly understanding the lesson you paid for.
Okay, moving up the pyramid, we hit another super important distinction: analysis versus evaluation. Think of it this way. Analysis is taking the machine apart to see how all the little gears work. It's objective. But evaluation, that's stepping back and asking, is this machine even worth building in the first place? It's subjective. Knowing how makes you smart. Understanding why starts to make you wise.
And then, finally, we get to the top, the peak, creation. This is where you stop being just a consumer of information. You've analyzed, you've evaluated, and now you can build something brand new from all those pieces. A new idea, a fresh perspective. But when you get to the summit, you get a new view. And you realize the journey isn't quite what you thought it was.
Because, and this is a fascinating twist, it turns out that real, lasting wisdom isn't some trophy you get for reaching the peak. It's not a destination you just arrive at. The source material brings in this incredible old myth to explain why.
So if it's not at the summit, then where is it? When does all this effort, all this struggle and climbing finally become wisdom?
And here's the big reveal. This is the core insight of the whole thing. Turns out, wisdom isn't found in that moment of victory at the top. It's forged on the journey down, in the moment after failure.
You know the myth of Sisyphus, right? The guy cursed to roll a boulder up a hill forever, only to have it roll back down every single time? Well, the philosopher Albert Camus said that Sisyphus finds his meaning not in reaching the top, but on the walk back down the hill. That's his moment. That's when he can analyze what happened, reflect on the struggle, and consciously decide to try again. That choice, that resilience, that's wisdom. So, you've climbed the pyramid, you've learned from the descent. What's next? Do you just keep all that hard-won wisdom to yourself? Well, if you ask the great philosophers, they'd say absolutely not. You actually have a responsibility. Think about Plato's famous allegory of the cave. The person who escapes, sees the real world and the sun. Their journey isn't over. They have a duty to go back down into the dark cave and help guide the others out. You know, the biggest trap for a wise person is to just stay out in the sunlight all alone.
And this is such a crucial point. Your wisdom has to be put to work. If you just keep it to yourself, that's awesome. It's personal growth, it's maturity. But when you share it, when you use it to help other people on their journey, it transforms into something more. It becomes guidance.
I think this phrase just sums up the entire idea perfectly. Knowledge is something you can own, like property. You can hoard it, lock it away. But wisdom is different. It's a trust. It's something you hold for the benefit of everyone.
So we'll leave you with this one question to think about. After your own climbs and your own tumbles back down the hill, what's the hard-earned wisdom you're holding in trust, and how are you going to share it?